Hello, everybody.
Yo, what's going on?
Welcome. What is this, episode 20?
Really?
I think this is 20 now.
Jeez.
The Anime Mystics podcast.
Wow.
I'm Roman.
I'm Steven Sanosuke-sama.
And tonight we have something special.
Yes.
We have a guest today.
Yes. Very early Christmas gift for everybody.
Yeah. A friend of Steven's.
Yes.
If you want to introduce her.
So I've known this individual for, 8-9 years. She is a very good, very close friend of mine. We met through cosplay and anime, and so I am very, very proud to announce we have the legendary Kimihako Blade on the podcast with us. Go ahead and say hello, Kimmy.
Hello, thanks for having me, Steven.
Yeah.
And Roman?
Absolutely.
No problem.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on with us.
coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for being the first guest we've ever had.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this is a new experience for us. So we're going to see how we can ask the hard-hitting questions. You know, give the interview.
I'm down for the ride.
Excellent, excellent. And again, we appreciate you being on here with us, taking the time out of your very busy, very cosplaying life to indulge us.
Yes.
Anytime. I love nerding out, so I feel
Awesome.
at home being able to do this.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. So before we begin with Kimmy, I was talking to Roman real quick before we started, and there's no housekeeping or anything, nothing. And there's going to be no FGO talk, no Fate talk. It's going to be all Kimmy, all podcast.
However long that goes
Ooh,
on for.
lots of pressure.
Yeah, yeah. This is all about you today. So, all right. So without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and get this started. So, let's open this with the obvious. What got you started into cosplay? Go.
Alright, so imagine, if you will, a young, impressionable lady in Mississippi with no idea what she's getting herself into when she joins the anime club. And the first thing she sees are a bunch of people in wigging out and what seems like costuming as Bleach characters. And except, well, this isn't cartoons, they're actual people. And it turns out that they were the vice president and a member of the anime club. And I asked them, I was like, so what exactly are y'all doing to be showing up on a Thursday night on university campus? And they were like, well, we're doing this thing called cosplay. And I was like, what? What is that? And imagine if it was like 2009. Wow, I thought we were in like the double digits for a second, and then I realized I was a freshman in 2009.
Wow.
And Mississippi is at the cusp of absolutely no technological progress. So, but that is very slow onboarding for cultural just awareness. And with that, it was like, whoa, people do this thing called cosplay? All right, I'm intrigued. And my friends got me so intrigued that at some point during the journey, a few months later, they encouraged me to make a Facebook, and they were like, yeah, you should totally do this, because we bet you that lots of people will like your photos. And I was like, but I just joined y'all as this really, like, cool character, Nelly L2. I think y'all are wrong. And let me tell y'all, like, my self-esteem and my self-love was, like, absolute trash. So I definitely did not believe them. And to humor them, I just made the Facebook account. And one by one, day by day, I somehow just accumulated so much just feedback. And a lot of it was positive feedback. And I was just super drawn in to the world of cosplay thereafter, of just like, whoa, I can talk to people across the internet through this weird medium. Let's do it.
Yes. And so, you said the vice president of Anime Club was cosplaying, and it was Bleach?
Yep.
Wow.
Sure was. This was at the height when Bleach was good.
Yeah, I was about to say 2009.
Controversial topic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that was like prime Bleach right there, because I was like, that's right about the time where in my life it was like Code Geass and Bleach.
Lots of Lelouches.
Yeah, exactly.
NCCs and pizzas.
Yeah, 2009 I think was actually my first AX as well. The first time I went to Anime Expo.
Gosh, it must have been so small then compared to now.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, I think it was like $50 a weekend badge at that time.
Wow.
That's so expensive compared to the conventions I was attending at the time.
Yeah. And AX now, I got an email. It was like $110 for your weekend badge. I was like, no, get wrecked.
Rip wallet.
Yeah. But that's hilarious. It was like, so it's like Mississippi is stuck in the Stone Age, but they still know this wonderful thing called anime.
Well, like that handful of like a dozen people of weirdos, yes.
So you said that the vice president, going back to him, he was cosplaying. Who was he cosplaying as from Bleach?
Kenpachi.
Okay, the best captain.
Yep.
The best.
One-eyed and just leading the anime club with a sword on campus.
Did he have his other arm tucked away into his hakama?
Yes,
Excellent.
he did.
Excellent.
And I think there was a Yaoi fan slap folder thing. I forgot if y'all remember that, but yeah, he definitely had one of those to keep attention within the club meetings.
Oh man, the yaoi paddle.
Yes, that's what it was called.
Oh man, I'm so sorry that reached you all the way from California. I'm sorry.
You know what? It's all good.
So it's funny too because like when it comes to Kenpachi particularly, he's one of the reasons why I have such a big beef with Ichigo, because it's like, you know, Kenpachi killed the captain to become the captain, because that's one of the ways you could become a captain in Bleach, and then Ichigo just shows up and just whoops him, and I was like, no, Ichigo's is just the worst.
You could have told 80 further lies to my 14-year-old self, okay, Steven?
I mean, that's fine. When you're 14 and whatnot, it's easier to get into that belief of disbelief, you know? Like, oh, it's just Ichigo. He can just do it. And then, but like I said, you take 2 steps backward and you're like, wait a minute. Hold on. This kid got no training. And he just whooped a dude who beat one of the strongest and became the strongest, and he just loses? I couldn't get past that.
What?
Yeah.
He's just an OP character, like, you know, just a patch update in a video game, okay?
For real. You know, it's the Shonen Jump main character syndrome. You know, like Luffy and Goku. It's like, why are they strong? 'Cause
high on their own supply.
Exactly. It's just the way it is. And you know, and I love Neliel. You know, I think that's one of the reasons why I started following you, is because Neliel. And I was like, why did they not use her like enough? They really just underutilized her. It was unfortunate.
It just make me sad just thinking about how much wasted potential her character went through.
Right?
It's like, rest in peace.
Yeah.
I love you. I miss you.
Yeah. And funny enough that those 2 characters, like Kenpachi is the one that bailed out Neliel in the Hueco Mundo fight too.
Uh-huh.
That's so funny. There's some connection between the characters.
Oh man, I'm just thinking about the entire cast of Bleach, and I'm like, they were so cool. They were such like a diverse like character list, but
Right.
so shallow and deaf, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that's it. It came in like a storm, and then it just passed. And it was the last one to start and the first one to finish.
of the big 3, yep.
Yeah.
Oh well, what can we do?
You know, and yeah, no, I completely agree. It was also the one with the most potential. You know, because it's like the One Piece characters are just more bizarre, and it's like their whole gimmick is being bizarre. And the Naruto guys are just like, are they really even ninjas at this point? I mean, they could pass as Boku Hero characters, quite honestly.
Well, they're not very stealthy anymore.
No, they're not.
They just kind of go out there and just fight.
They're as much ninjas as the One Piece pirates are pirates. So,
I have to agree with that. Yeah.
but the Bleach guys, they were all, you know, at least they fit that their genres or their types. It was just kind of like, yeah, just in a superficial, fantastical way, it just made more sense. But,
Until it didn't.
Until they ran out of ideas and brought Aizen back, and it was just kind of like, oh, all right, we're done.
It's okay. Kubo just wanted to design more fashionable characters, okay?
It's true. This is true. And now, we have Demon Slayer, so basically Bleach 2018, so hey.
I mean, I'm down with the system.
Yeah, right? So, we used to call them captains, now we call them pillars.
Same difference.
Same thing. But anyways. Going back to Anime Club. So how was that like? What was the daily routine in Anime Club then in Mississippi?
We would meet every Thursday night at 7 p.m. And the way that we ran it was we would have 2 or 3 episodes that we would feature from different anime series, and it was decided on a weekly theme that was voted on in our forums back when forums were still a thing. And I got exposed to a lot of different series and got to decide whether or not it was worth investing a little extra time into watching the remainder of the series, and just got to talk a lot about anime afterwards with the following discussions. And then afterwards, on Thursday nights after Anime Club meetings, we would go to Burger King and talk shop and just hang out and connect and still play video games.
Nice. Good
fun memories. At some point, I don't know how, but I think I led the Anime Club for a couple of years, and it was a lot of fun just trying to elevate Anime Club socialization.
Did you guys ever go to cons together as like a club?
We did.
Okay.
So the thing about my college is that, or any town in Mississippi, is that in order to get anywhere of civilization where there's like a target, it would be like an hour and a half to 2 hour proximity in a radius around us. So we would have to definitely travel just to go to a convention. And at the time, I think when I first joined, they had just started doing Akon trips and AWA. I'm not talking about Akon the singer. I'm talking about Akon in Dallas, Texas, which is the longest running anime convention in I believe, North America.
Wow.
And then AWA is Anime Week in Atlanta, and obviously in Atlanta, it's in the name.
Right.
And then eventually at some point there was a convention that launched in Birmingham about a year or two in my college years. And it's called Comic-Con, and it still lives on to this day.
Nice.
And I think towards the end of my Anime Club years, I wound up going to this new one in Memphis, Tennessee called Anime Blues Con, which has an excellent late-night programming. It was definitely just really on a smaller scale, but it just felt really homey for a lot of the return attendees.
Nice. Did you guys ever cosplay as a group?
As a cohesive unit, only one time amongst friends. We did a Batman group, so I was a part of the Gotham Sirens, and it was really fun to just show up at Comic-Con in Birmingham as a group and just take over it.
Yes.
For once in my cosplay shenanigans, I actually tried to be modest. And as with cosplay, sometimes malfunctions happen, and the victim in this case was my zipper of my catsuit as Catwoman. It just busted open, and if it were not for the corset, I would have not been held together. And it's just an interesting, noticeable change when the girls are out on display, because I was wandering around totally casual, nonchalantly, to all of a sudden there are just people swarming me left and right, and I'm like, why?
I'll give you two reasons.
Because busty Asian women don't exist in the South.
It's true. It's like unicorns out there.
Oh, you have no idea, man. Like, Asian people in the South make up less than 0.1% of the population.
You actually brought up an interesting point that for some of your fans, this might be the first time that they actually hear your voice. And, obviously they know that you're Asian because we've seen your cosplay photos and all that. But yeah, for some of the people out there, this might be the first time that they're hearing your amazing Southern accent.
Oh man, Steven, this version of my Southern accent, as you know, is definitely a toned down version of when we first met.
Right.
And I believe the first time we met, I was like, "Hi, Steven. My name's Missy from Mississippi,
Yep.
and it's really nice to meet you."
Yeah. It gave me the like Beverly Hillbillies vibe, and I was all like, "What?" It's like, say that again. And Missy from Mississippi, and that's just kind of like that should have been your gamer tag on like Xbox Live,
No, I would have been harassed by so much more people.
Yeah.
And even on Fortnite, it would have been just awful in this generation.
Yeah. And yeah, no, the accent completely caught me off guard. I mean, your personality is very warming and bubbly. That's fine, and you can convey that online or offline. But the accent, when you hear it, you're like, whoa, what? Wait, what? Because it is. You're right. It's something that's like so surreal. You gotta do a double take and like, wait, what? And it's good. It's good. It's great. And again, it's what makes you unique. So you are, not only are you a unicorn, but you're a unicorn with a rainbow-colored mane of hair. So you're double rare.
I'm just blue.
You're just blue. There you go. The blue unicorn from the south. But, yeah, So to see the people swarming you at a con, understandable. All right. So, all right. Let's go. Let's bounce off that then. So we're talking about Bleach. We're talking about Ichigo. So let's ask the $1 million question then. Who's your husbando and who's your waifu? Go.
Alright, husbando of all time is still probably Kakashi Sensei. He's the man. He's a champ.
Interesting.
And he's timeless, and I can't let go of that. And as for waifu, I believe that will be Satellizer L. Bridget from Freezing.
Okay.
Did you watch that?
I haven't watched it, but I know who that is.
You know who? Okay. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Roman may not have seen it, but he knows who the character is.
Stellar knowledge.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember when you wore Satellizer out here during Fanime, and one of the guys that I know, his name is Mark, and he's just like, "Oh crap, is that a Satellizer cosplay?" And it's like, yeah. Because he's down with those shows like Senran Kagura and all of that, the Opie is Life shows.
Opie.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with the breakdown of Kakashi Sensei. So what's husbando about Kakashi?
Just how cool and calculated and how wonderful of a mentor he is, and also he's just so aloof, and I just love the fact that he just is indulging in his obvious pervy novels, and at the time that joke totally went above my head, as did a lot of things, but as an adult I'm like, he's good, he's real good, and he's got his priorities down with loyalty, man. Like, I'm down for the cause, ride or die, sign me up.
Including the 1,000 Years of Pain?
Yep.
Okay. It's like you said, you're down with the cause, you're loyal to the end, so okay. Wow. So then you were not just into Bleach, but so what did you do first, Bleach or Naruto?
I mean, technically, whatever I read first in the Shonen Jump magazines, the monthly ones that were super stacked chunky, I don't know which one was featured first, but I'm pretty sure I read them at the same time, so I guess it's just an order of the magazine.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I think they were all in the magazine when it was released over here.
Yeah. I remember I was reading Naruto first, and then eventually I just kind of caught wind of Bleach. I don't even know how I discovered Bleach, but it could have been our friend Will. Maybe he was the one, or maybe it was when I started getting into it, and then he also was reading it, or he was reading it the entire time. Then but I stopped in Naruto like after they kidnapped Sasuke. and they were chasing them through the forest.
Oh, well, I mean, he wasn't
that's
kidnapped.
so early.
That is pretty early, yeah. I didn't last too long. I think that after Tsunade got introduced and they did her whole thing, I was just kind of like, yeah, I think that's where I'm going to stop. Because I was like, I love Tsunade. She's pretty awesome. I think I'm done.
Can't top this.
Well,
I'm just
Yeah, it's just downhill from here.
ended on a high note.
Yeah.
I kept through all the way until I hit college, and then at some point I was like, you know, I've watched the whole summer of like 100 filler episodes.
I'm
If
sorry.
there's going to be another summer of that at college, I can't do this. Like, move along, Naruto. I need you to move along. But I did eventually finish all of it once it did end, so I did catch up.
And are you still on Boruto?
I got like 10 episodes in, and then I lost interest.
Got it.
I mean, it's like, man, y'all are disrespecting Naruto by calling him Boruto's dad.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of do the same thing with Demon Slayer and call it Tanjiro's dad. So, like, I really want to watch that series about Tanjiro's dad.
Wow.
Yeah. So, oh, man. But okay. All right. So then, likewise, what's the attraction with Satellizer?
So, her nickname in the show is the Untouchable Queen.
Okay.
And that really resonates with me just because upbringing, I definitely had a huge reservation and a little bit of hesitation about interacting with people
Okay.
because I was a lock and key child, which for those of y'all are a latchkey child. I was left home alone and my parents were off working, so I had to like entertain myself in a number of ways, but then when I actually got around to socializing with people, it was just a unknown territory of tremendous fear. And it's super crazy to me how that has changed so much for me from then to now. And I think in a lot of ways, I see that with Satellizer in her journey through the show as she's trying to open herself up in a shy and yet vulnerable way with her partner. And her partner is definitely a ride or die dude. A little slow, but that's okay. He's got heart, and I can respect that. And a little by little, Satellizer has a pretty heavy history that holds her back and is the result of why she's referred to as an untouchable queen. But through just character development, she's able to just come to terms with that because of other priorities, just relationship with people, that people actually care about her. And she can, be herself, and it's okay.
So, I never saw the second season. I only saw the first season. So I didn't see, was it Vibration?
Yes.
First off, let me go to the very core of the series. It's still considered Japanese manga and anime, right?
I believe so.
Okay. For some reason, I thought it was Korean, like manhwa, but I was like, no. Or I think it was it the ending song or the first season? I think was Korean. I think I don't remember, or maybe it was just animated by a Korean studio. I don't know. Somehow I got myself thinking that this was Korean based for some reason.
Maybe because the last names are of the authors are Korean.
Okay, got it. All right. And the other thing too is that when I was when you were explaining it just now, I was looking it up real quick, and the voice actress for Satellizer is actually the voice actress in FGO for Altera and Skasaha and Bernhilder.
Yeah, you got to sneak in some FGO anyway.
Yeah, because I knew that, and I was just kind of like, wait a minute, it's Mamiko Noto, right? And she's been around since School Rumble. She did the Quiet Sister. I don't know if you guys remember School Rumble. It was basically the Azumanga Daioh unofficial sequel. When Azumanga Daioh ended, School Rumble came out, and it just kind of kept going. But Mamiko Noto just had this reputation for doing kind of quiet characters. But then she does 5 characters now in FGO, and it's just kind of like, oh, alrighty then. And they all have that kind of soft-spoken, reserved kind of tone to her. So really, that's her character type.
Man, that's something that I find fascinating. Is that like every time I look on the internet, there's so much FGO.
Yeah.
But in my actual day-to-day interactions within nerddom communities here, like particularly in the South,
Yeah.
hardly gets mentioned. So I'm like,
No, they're missing out.
And that's a good point, and I can't really figure out why that is. Why the South doesn't do Fate. I mean, let me ask this: is there a presence out there? Like, do people cosplay it or talk about it, or would you say?
I'm going to sit here and think. I'm going to think very carefully on this.
Okay.
And scour through my memory banks.
Because
they are infrequent numbers compared to the times I've visited the West Coast.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, and you even got me thinking too, and I'm thinking about the FGO Road Tour that they were doing, where they were going to like conventions all across the country. Aniplex, the company that puts it out, they didn't stop anywhere in the South, like AWA, MomoCon, any of those, Dragon Con, and I'm pretty sure Aniplex was out there, like they had a booth selling merch, but they didn't make any of those cons into road tour stops. At least I don't think they did. I'm pretty sure they didn't.
I would be surprised. I mean, having frequented a lot of the Atlanta conventions,
yeah,
they tend to have a lot more interest in like a mix of both Japanese and American animation shows.
Right.
So, I mean, FGO series as a whole like seems to be like very Japan driven.
Yes.
And then West Coast has eaten it up like all the way, and then it just kind of falls off once you hit, I guess, Midwest.
Yeah, they actually were at AWA during Halloween. They were, yeah, they're during Halloween. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, when you look at it, Georgia's like right there on the East Coast. So, yeah. So, yeah. Oh, and Atlanta, let's be honest, Atlanta is absorbing a lot of, like, West Coast and East Coast people.
Oh, yeah. I've seen a lot of friends that moved from West Coast to Atlanta, and those even on the East Coast to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And the entertainment business is booming.
Yeah.
It's part being the South? I don't know.
Yeah.
They got peaches.
Yeah, for reals. Yeah, it's still considered South, absolutely, but it's right there on the East Coast, butting up right above Florida. But yeah, that's funny. So I'm trying to think. Man, I don't know what would attract. I guess I think that from my conceptions or my concepts or my thinking, I always felt the South was more Shonen Jump style than like a Fate style, because the Fate franchise is like the MCU. If you were to break it down, Fate would be more like the Avengers, but there's a bunch of mini franchises that go into the overexpanding universe, because there's multiple storylines, there's multiple characters that were given there. Like earlier this year, we had Waver. He had his own show, and I know this is completely French to you right now, but it's basically there's more than one series that comprises the universe that Fate takes place in. It's just kind of like Fate is the one where they all kind of converge into, and so it's kind of a lot to follow. And it seems that the South is more like American comics and Shonen Jump. I mean, let's look at it like this. How much Gundam cosplay would you say is in the South?
Like maybe 2 every convention.
There you go.
30,000.
There you go. And
they sell lots of Gundams here.
Yeah, I'm sure that like people watch it, just like I'm sure people play Fate in the South. an FGO, but would they like cosplay it, or would they be all like, oh yeah, little FGO World Tour, yeah? I would find that a hard sell. But yeah. It just doesn't. For some reason, it just doesn't sound like something that the South typically would buy into. And I mean, I hope I'm wrong, because I would love more people to come in and start playing from any region in the country, because that would make getting these milestones a lot easier. When they're like and retweet, we'll give you free stuff in game, and it's like squeezing water out of a stone to find people to like and retweet, and it's like, come on, guys. So,
okay, I'm going to expose my ignorance here, Steven.
Yo.
So, I guess with the shonen titles and knowing and like considering the demographics per West Coast and the South in particular, I definitely see the appealing themes that show up in shonen titles.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not obvious to me as to what allures people to Fate, other than there's such a huge, diverse set of characters. I've tried to dive into the Fate series, and as you've mentioned, it is like French to me, and I feel like I've fallen into a multiverse of confusion, and I have no trajectory of where any of this fits together.
And that's fair, because it's a lot to take in, especially here in the year 2019. And this came out, I think it started back in 2004. So to get kind of caught up in 15 years, you reminded me of something with like Smash Melee on the GameCube. The reason why when you go to EVO in Las Vegas and you watch Smash Melee, it's always the same two guys getting into grand finals is because Smash Melee has been out for like 18 years now. So for anybody to get caught up and get to their level is impossible. To get 18 years of playing the game and getting caught up and having that controller that they use is near impossible. Is it possible? Absolutely. But is it near impossible? Yes. And that's almost how it is with Fate. Because there's TV, there's OVA, there's movies, there's manga, there's light novels, there's audio CDs, there's stage plays. It's a lot.
Yeah, and every time you mention one of those, it's like a whole arrow stabbing through like my nerd heart of like, oh god, there's so much content to consume. I do not have enough years to catch up, much like last I stopped my marathon with One Piece. I am, well, at this point, only halfway through the episodes of which One Piece is at today. And by the way, I was at episode like 450, and for what I understand, One Piece is at 900 plus?
The Roman is actually the One Piece guy, so you're in good company right now.
Yeah, it's over 900 right now. Yeah, they just got into Wano.
Wow. Yep. I would need another college experience to catch up.
Yeah.
I mean, if you didn't have anything to do and you just wanted to spend all your weekends locked up watching One Piece, you could do it in like 3 months.
Jeez! 3 months? Oh my...
Me and my grandmother did that with the first 500 episodes.
Oh.
Just took our weekends and spent 8 to 9 hours watching One Piece.
Okay, Fate's not that bad. Fate's not that bad. Oh, yeah, it's not One Piece levels. No, I won't go that far. Man, and to One Piece's credit too, at least it's a streamlined story. It's not like, even though I could be wrong, but to me, there's not like a spin-off where Zoro is the main character and it's all like Zoro's adventures, and then it's like 52 episodes of Zoro, backstory or Zoro's side story or something, where Zoro's the main character and then he gets his own crew and then they go on adventures and yada yada yada. Yeah.
Nothing like that.
Yeah. So that's how like Fate is, because there's like the initial 3 stories, Fate, Unlimited Blade Works, and then Heaven's Feel. But then there's the spin-off, which is Apocrypha, which is, takes place. And then there's the Waiver, and then there's Zero, which is the prequel. Waiver, which is the bridge between Zero and Stay Night. And Apocrypha, which is a side story. Strange Fake, which is a side story. What else? Prototype, which actually is instead of Stay Night. So Stay Night completely doesn't happen. Instead, we get Prototype. Yeah. So, yeah, again, it's not the end, but it is involving. And I guess, again, with the One Piece characters, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. Which I think is also something that irritated me with Ichigo, which was kind of, he was just always stronger and stronger, and then it was just kind of like, now he's Arankar, now he's Shinigami, now he's Quincy. It's just like... He was just everything. And in Fate, you have to suspend your disbelief because they use the lores of characters very loosely, and I think that's what is appealing, because you just never know what direction these people are gonna take these characters. You know, if case in point, I'm gonna take my boy Achilles, because I know Roman loves Achilles. I just saw a video at the gym the other day where Achilles is the number 5 character, according to Kita-Sean on YouTube. He said that Achilles is the number 5 character you should probably roll for. And if you saw, they mention Achilles often because they say if you know who the person is, you can probably know how to defeat them in a battle. So, you know, if you're dealing with Achilles, aim for the heel, you'll probably beat him. And then if you see him depicted in Apocrypha, he's itching for a fight. He's a badass, and he goes up against his very mentor and punches the fool through the chest. So, and then he beats up Adelante, who is also with the Argonauts. So, and that's how he eats it. He eats it through mutual death with Adelante. So, but you see that he's very chivalrous, and he's completely not the guy that dragged Hector around his chariot after he beat Hector at the gates of Troy. So, but man, he's a badass. He's pretty badass in Apocrypha. But again, that's how it is. You're always curious as to how they're going to depict these people. In Apocrypha too, they show Shakespeare, and Shakespeare's a giant coward. Like, he's always like, I'm not going to fight nobody. But you know what? I'm going to jack you up, because he literally, what he writes becomes reality. Because Shakespeare, he writes stories. So that's kind of what it is. And again, that's only a fraction of the Fate MCU. Because again, there's other storylines going on that has nothing to do with any of these battles. So, because you have whole other organizations that are doing their own stuff, like the church, and they're dealing with supernatural monsters and werewolves and demons. Yeah. So, that's kind of where it is, versus, again, with the Shonen Jump stuff. I think that it's pretty... Like Demon Slayer, again, one of those popular series of this year. It's all like, it's Tanjiro, the Pillars, and then we're fighting Michael Jackson and his demons. Pretty straightforward. So, but we like the characters. The characters have good personalities to them, too, so. Yeah.
Yep.
Man, Steven, I just feel like it just took my brain for a whole loop and just, like, made me question as to how much complexity can my brain, like, comprehend. I really have to deal with that in my day roll, so I'm like, oh, goodness. Fate, it's a lot.
It is.
I mean, to be honest, you really don't have to watch any of it to play the game.
Yeah,
I got into the game, and
yeah.
all I had seen was the first stay night. And, I mean, it's its own separate story, so you don't really need to know much about the original story to get into it.
Yeah, in terms of FGO on mobile, Roman's right. It's its own standalone story. If anything, it's more like fan service. If you do know the other franchises, or the other stories, I should say, you should just start calling them storylines. If you know the other storylines, it's cheesecake, but...
Yeah, they throw in, like, Easter eggs, but...
Yeah.
That's, like, for those who actually know the stories.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, so those go over my head.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy what they give me.
Yeah. And in terms of FGO2, it's also not just them pulling from their existing storylines, but it's also, like, the artists that they get, or the voice actors that they get. It's those are the other things that appeal too.
They have some pretty big voice actors.
Yeah, that's where their budget goes. So keep up that gotcha.
Yeah.
Keep up that way. Yeah, like I just said, we had the voice actress for Satellizer. She does some of the most popular characters, you know? Mm-hmm. So, Skasa Haskadi next, during AX is about to make them about $1 million. And then everyone loves regular Skasaha. She gets cosplayed all the time. And then Altera. Altera is one of the biggest memes. Bad civilization.
Yeah.
So, that's there you go. That's something else. Why? So they introduced Altera because Attila the Hun is the one that destroyed the Roman Empire, sacked Rome, right? Set it on fire, and so they introduced Altera as a villain to go against Nero. There you go. So, again, it's just how they interpret the characters, how they introduce the characters, and then that's kind of where we go. So, again, I don't fault you for being confused, and I apologize if I did confuse you, but you should play FGO.
Man, we're going to give it a second go, you know. I have periods where I'm like, I have a mobile game to play, and then I go in periods where I'm like, I haven't even touched this mobile game in, like, months.
Yeah.
That's fine. I stopped playing it for, like, a year and a half.
Yeah.
And I just recently got back into it this summer.
Yeah, I had my JP account. I'd never touched it for almost, like, a year. And then it wasn't until the 3rd anniversary that was going on. Then I reactivated my account and I started playing JP and USA. So, but I'm gonna jump off from FGO real quick, and I'm gonna talk about you in League, because I know that you're big on League right now.
I am. I actually just got off from a match of Team Fight Tactics.
Nice. Yeah. So is that what you've been streaming like the last couple of times?
Yes, it is. So there's a new mode on League of Legends, and it's definitely not as intense as its normal Summoner's Rift mode that you usually see in esports casting and tournaments.
Okay.
This mode is more of strategy, and it's a little bit like a game of chess, except instead of having your traditional roles, there are champions that are derived from League of Legends, and each one of them has a particular ability, and your objective is to strategize around getting multiple units to make a stronger copy. And I build a team that synergizes well with one another, and what that means is, like, for every particular character set that you have, it enhances a particular ability.
Okay.
And all of this is to beat the other 7 people within the queue. And ultimately, whoever rings victorious will be the top 4. Whoever loses will be the bottom 4. And obviously, the threshold of how many points that you accrue to determine your ranking is determined from first to last place. So if you won first place, you probably get a whole ranking jump. If you lost directly last place in 8th, you might actually lose a significant amount to drop you back down.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it, just because as much as I love Summoner's Rift, I play games to just really de-stress. Yeah. And as much as I like League, I sometimes fall back into that Ranger mode, where I used to do that back in my World of Warcraft raiding days. Oh gosh, looting was always a emotionally just infuriating moment, potentially at times. Yeah. In World of Warcraft, but in League, it's a team game, and it's definitely determined by your communication, your synergies, how well you know and trust your teammates. So within my little group of friends, we've just played for a while, and I enjoy playing with them just because it's like, you know what, win or lose, no one's going to go home crying or raging or cussing each other out. It's all in good fun. Even if I'm a little upset because I played poorly, that's on me, and that's okay. But I've mostly been enjoying Teamfight Tactics just because it lets me flex my brain a little bit in a different means, and I've actually been doing pretty well with that mode for the most part. And as a heads up, on League of Legends, I usually play support Nami, and that usually means I am this fish character with a wonderful staff throwing bubbles around and hoping to ensnare people in those bubbles and catch them off guard, throw heals to my friends, which will bounce off to enemies, and then throw a big tidal wave that will cascade them into submission.
That sounds just like you.
Yes, I throw tidal waves into people to jest them into submission.
So what's the lore behind this character? You said it's a fish, a magical fish?
Yes, a magical fish lady. She floats around on the map. And the entire League of Legends game is, I guess it's kind of similar to like Fate, where it draws character backgrounds from different figures in history and folklore.
Okay.
And I don't know the exact folklore for Nami per se, but I know that, let's see, Vladimir is in the game, and he's a vampire.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty standard. What can you expect? Warwick, you have pretty much a whole skin and motif playing off of Little Red Riding Hood and the werewolf story. So he's in the game as well.
So it's both. It's Red Riding Hood and the wolf in one.
Mm-hmm. Except the little girl also summons a big, ginormous, angry teddy bear called Tibbers that will eat your face off and blow you to smithereens. With love, of course, you know.
With love.
Well, I mean, if you're going to do anything, it might as well be with love.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, we've been playing since the first season, so it's definitely seen a lot of progress for when it was first initialized. Mm-hmm. But I did take a break from it for about 3 years, similar to how I took a break from cosplay, and that's just mainly to focus on life and adulting.
Yeah, I know them feels. So I just took a peek at Nami on the browser, and she actually looks like, was it Mempha from Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild? Like almost like one of the new like Zora looking people from Zelda. I don't know if you're familiar with Zelda or the Zora people.
Alright, I'm here to expose another one of my ignorance. I did not play enough Zelda in my life because I too had to play catch up because my parents were too traditional Asian to let me get a game console.
Fair enough. In other words, it's we're okay with mermaids. We like mermaids around here.
Mermaids
yeah. Yeah, I could have just said mermaids, but you know what? I call her Fish Lady because I have a whole mastery page called Fish Sticks.
Fish sticks?
You're sending
yes,
that to,
that's my mastery page for her.
What's
Sending it to Kanye West?
Yeah, Kanye West.
please tell me they make that joke to you at all times. Fish sticks.
No, they don't, unfortunately.
Oh my god. Alright, I'm gonna make a note. I have to send you Kanye West and fish sticks.
Well, I mean, I know about the quote, but I've also known about, like, CeeLo Green and his golden self and Silver Kanye.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, man.
So, what a wild world we're in.
Yeah, it's good times. So then, about League then. So, are all the characters... So it's like a spin-off game, right? The Teamfight Tactics or whatever?
It is. I mean, the game functionality and like the fundamentals of it is based off of a different game, similar to how League is based off of Dota, which was then a modification of Warcraft. So I mean, like, yeah.
Got it. It's all the same characters though, right?
No. So normally League of Legends Summoner's Rift mode has the ability to interact with all 130 plus characters. For Teamfight Tactics, there are different character sets per season, and I think that set's like maybe at 24, maybe 36 characters, and that's just mainly to like help keep it a little less crazy with the amount of abilities to keep up and keep track of and item combinations, because if you had to deal with like building out 136 characters and the probability of like drawing cards for 5 of them, that's a lot.
Yeah. So in OG League of Legends, I think Roman and I are tripping off the same point here. There's 130 characters now?
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
What happened to Ari and Sona?
I mean, they still get lots of love. Well, Sona not as much. Ari definitely is still, like, hella loved with, like, over 9 different skins.
Oof.
And, I mean, she was definitely featured in KDA, that music video.
Right. And I guess Sona fell out because no one loves Miku anymore. We've moved on from Vocaloids.
There's a Kali. I mean, just
well,
fine to find muscular tones.
I don't know about that. Miku's having a concert in San Jose soon.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, Vocaloids are still a thing, absolutely. And I think they're about to put out another Project Diva video game, but I think everything now, the trend is all those virtual YouTube idols like Kizuna Ai. It's like a new one of those pops up like every day, and 5 come up every week now, and you know, eventually we'll all get exposed that they're just dudes with voice changers, but hey, until then, we'll write it out.
Right.
Well, I mean, I know there's a Miku concert happening in Dallas at some point.
Oh, jeez.
I was just saying that there's one coming up in San Jose.
Sounds like the tour then, yeah. There's Dallas, and there's San Jose, California, and wow. Amazing. All right, so, you know, I like Vocaloids. I hope that they stick around for a long, long time. I think that what's funny about League is sometimes how brazen they are with their characters. Like, come on, we all knew that Sona was Miku. And it was just like, it was so blatant. It's just kind of like, really? But it also was like nobody really got mad because everyone knew what they were doing. And it was more just like, ha 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 ha. And then we just kind of went with it.
I mean, if anything, it's just an excuse to play as Miku. I mean, who would want to do that? What other game or platform allows you to pretend like you float around like Miku?
It's true. Very true. Is Sona in the Teamfight Tactics?
She is not in this current season set.
Okay. But has she ever been in?
I did not play last season, so
okay.
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure she was not, as far as the guides I've been reading.
Okay. So am I saying this right? Teamfight Tactics, is that what it's called? The mode?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you prefer that one, or do you? And what's the normal mode called? That's Summoner's Rift is the one with the lanes, right?
Yep. And that's like 5 people versus 5 people. Okay. There used to be the Twisted Tree Line, which was designed for 3 versus 3 interaction, but in all honesty, it just didn't get as much play.
Right.
And that map, I believe, is familiar to some people who play Heroes of the Storm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've played that one.
Yeah. So Roman is pretty big into Overwatch, so he actually played Heroes of the Storm for a bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, I give them props that they were pulling like characters from Overwatch and sticking them in there. Although they pulled a couple from everything, didn't they? Because wasn't there like Warcraft characters in there too?
Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo.
Yeah.
Just everywhere. Any one of their properties, they were throwing characters in there.
If it's Blizzard, they will use it.
It's true. Where's my Lost Vikings 3, Blizzard? I'm calling you out.
Heroes of the Storm.
Man, and that one, I remember when you got a game over screen on Lost Vikings, man, they straight up set the ship on fire. They gave you a Viking funeral, man. Let me tell you, Blizzard back in the day, they didn't care, man. I still haven't made that post on Facebook where I want to be all like, look, Blizzard had such balls, but they were like a company that were made of old men that were like Steve Buscemi in high school trying to be cool. Like, hello, fellow kids. They made Rock and Roll Racing on the Super Nintendo and put a bunch of songs from the 70s and the 80s like Bad to the Bone and Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf. And I'm thinking like, dude, what was I, like 10 or 11 when this game came out? I didn't know who Steppenwolf was. I didn't know who Black Sabbath was. And these guys are like, we're hip, we're cool, we're going to make this racing game and put a bunch of songs from the 70s. That's what the kids on their Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis want, right?
I did.
Oh, I know. Now I look back on it and I'm all like, oh, by the way, if you, apparently Rock and Roll Racing is all, you can get it through the official Blizzard website, but all the, like, OG licensed music, they took it all down. Because the license ran out, and I guess they don't want to play like Steppenwolf and Ozzy Osbourne, like whatever they were asking for. So they replaced all the music, and I was like, "Oh, guys, why would you do that?" That was like the best part. It was just hearing this 16-bit MIDI version of "Bad to the Bone." What should we call it? Highway Star, which was actually a JoJo character.
Yeah.
So yeah, Highway Star is in JoJo Part 4, and that song was in Rock and Roll Racing by Blizzard. And I always saw Blizzard as like these old guys just trying to be hip. And you see it again with Overwatch with like Sombra, and she's quoting Hackers from 1995. You know, which was with what's his name, Johnny Lee Smith or whatever, and Angelina Jolie, and the dude that played Shaggy in the Scooby-Doo live action movie. And I was like, they're quoting Hackers from 95. It was 2016 when Overwatch came out, and we're getting quotes from Hackers from 1995. I was like, no kid is gonna know this. But it's like Blizzard is just a bunch of old dudes trying to be cool. But I will admit, it makes some pretty cutscenes.
I mean, they definitely do, especially for the trailer for Overwatch 2. You know what? That was probably the one thing that didn't draw me to Overwatch was that I wanted a storyline mode.
Yeah. They made all of it was like you saw all the character vignettes and all of that, and you're just kind of like, why can't this be like story or something? And then it's like, no. Because I guess it wouldn't fit with the gameplay, you know, like you're shooting each other in the face and then you just kind of get right back up and you're back in the fight. So I guess if they were trying to give you a storyline, they would have to explain why you could be shot in the face and immediately get up 7 seconds later.
You know, why you gotta kill my dreams, Steven?
That's what he does. He does that best.
Yeah. This is me getting run over now. This is how I become the villain.
No, I mean, like, I actually played Fortnite Save the World mode for a little bit before, right before it blew up with Battle Royale.
Oh, boy.
And I actually enjoyed it for the most part, but unfortunately, I just couldn't get past it anymore when one night I was like, I'm going to complete this mission. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And, like, there's this, I don't know, kid just going off on his mic and, like, losing his marbles. And I'm like, alright, it's 9 o'clock. I'm just going to finish this mission, shoot up everything, throw a bunch of grenades, shotgun everything, and, you know, just literally carry the team. Because at the tally end, with all the points are revealed,
yeah,
like, if you calculate all the points for, like, my side, like, my little row,
yeah,
it, like, was the equivalent of all the other 3 people.
Wow.
And, like, this one kid that I'm, like, pointing out in particular, he was just so angry, and I really mean it. Like, when I say he's a kid, like, I was like, all right, you're definitely, like, you haven't hit puberty. It's quite obvious. And gosh, like, he was just so, like, toxic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll turn my mic on, and of course, you know, it's always that weird, oh, you're a girl, but you have a southern accent, and I'm like, yeah.
Girls have southern accents too.
Have an anger problem, and you can't seem to play this game competently, so could you cool it? And, like, maybe give your mom a hug? And, like, maybe have your dad, like, take you to the ball game instead of, like, junking out on this Fortnite? Because you're not very good at it.
Hitting them with the reality, huh?
And, man, I didn't want to be me, but then I was like, you're killing my vibe, kid. Like, I don't know what you're going through, but I bet, you know, your mom texts you in at night, and, like, she get all the ice cream treats and everything, and, man, I didn't think this would shut the kid down, but he went dead silent for a solid 5 minutes, not 5 minutes, 5 seconds, and then I was like, hello? And he was, like, back right into the whole cussing and the generic, like, your mama, blah, 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 and I'm like, ay. And then that is literally my last memory of Fortnite. I was not encouraged to save the world, only to be cussed out by tiny little children.
Wow. I've ever experienced that. That's pretty funny.
Well, I mean, it's my life in gaming, Steven.
Yeah. Oh, man. We're going to have to get your Twitch channel, too, so everyone can give you a follow and watch your endeavors with little kids that cuss too much.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I don't cuss too much these days, I don't think.
Yeah. That's good. So, you've never experienced anything like that on League?
I mean, when I was playing League, they didn't have, like, mic enablement for randos.
Ah.
So, I don't know if that's a functionality now, but they sure do have the chat, like chat all,
Yeah.
where you get to see everyone's contributions. And I have that muted because I just, no, not dealing with it.
Just as bad reading it
Then hearing it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
So unless you're pinging, doing like some sort of like actual in-game alerts, I'm probably not going to read because the feedback is pretty poor in most online gaming interactions I've had.
Yeah. Especially competitive games.
I was gonna say when you do comp, yeah, it's pretty bad. People just go in, and it's like you're not only the reason why they lost, you're also the reason why like starvation happens in the world and disease exists.
Oh gosh, and like that's just an attack on existence, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, I don't know about y'all, but I am here to like chill and like I don't know, decompress. Some of y'all just are egging on the spikes of your rage and are just getting high off of that supply, and
Yeah.
that's not my go-to, man.
Yeah, that's how they deal. By insulting your soul.
Only hurting herself.
Yeah. But it hasn't discouraged you from playing, right?
Playing League or just playing online in general?
In general.
In general, no. I think my constraints are a little bit different for gaming just because I probably fall on the opposite end of the spectrum where if people are binging on Netflix, I am the Netflix owner, but I spend the least amount of time on my Netflix just because I'm just doing a lot between a lot of my different interests. And by the time I'm like, heads up, I realize, oh snap, it's been a little bit since I've done this thing. My bad.
All right. So let me ask you this then. So we've talked about League, we've talked about streaming, we've talked about online gaming. So what are you playing offline though? Or what's the last game you played offline?
Ooh, so I've actually been playing Pokemon Shield. It's the first Pokemon title I have played since Gold, Silver, and Crystal.
Ooh.
So let me just tell you, it's been a hot minute, and I am actually enjoying it quite a bit. The world feels really good to me, and I spent like 3 hours in the starting area before I get to my first gym. So obviously I'm definitely entertained. I'm back to being my 10-year-old self and playing through the storyline and the characters in the world. I'm pretty drawn in. The Dynamax thing is pretty freaky to see like these supersized Pokemon staring at you in the face. But if anything, it's just even more entertaining to see on my big screen TV than it is to like, I don't know, see it on like Game Boy Advance. So I'm just super happy like how far technology's come to like do this sort of deal, because I remember like growing up, I was like, man, I ran out of batteries for like my Game Genie light thing for my Game Boy Advance. Oh shucks, I probably spent like hundreds of dollars on batteries. In reflection, I'm like, no wonder my mom got mad at me.
Yeah. Yeah, man, those were the days. Oh man. So and it's funny because you're like the kind of fan that Nintendo likes. So because there's basically been like two stories that have been coming out of Pokemon Sword and Shield. It's like half the people really, really love it and they are excited for it. And then there's the other half which are just like, we gotta burn Nintendo to the ground. And I liked Sun and Moon. I thought that Sun and Moon like had a great concept, and just in general, I actually like love Hawaii. So, yeah, but like I like the character Marnie. I think she's and if you've seen my Facebook spam, you know that I like the character the way Marnie is designed, and then I like Melanie because, well, MILF. So, and if you're playing Shield, she's in that one.
Here?
What's up?
Can I just share something here? Like,
yeah, go for it.
The only reason why I picked up Pokemon Shield is because of Melanie.
Hey.
Yeah.
See. I knew there's a reason we get along.
You do it, man.
But yeah, that's fantastic. And hey, at the end of the day, I agree with what someone said on YouTube. They were like, life is short, just play the games you want to play. So, if you're having fun with it and you're having a blast, you like seeing it on your big screen, hey, just do it. Just go for it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I try my best to play games. I mean, I feel really bad because I pre-ordered Borderlands 3, and I've played 4 hours of it.
Oof.
And then the same thing with, gosh, there was another game. Man, this is really bad. Like, I pre-ordered a game, and now I can't remember what game I pre-ordered. I have jelly brain right now.
No worries. Was it,
well.
what's up with Borderlands 3? Were you just not feeling it, or?
Just... I have this thing where I drop off with games, and I'm like, I'll get marathoned into it, but unless like I get to like a really good momentum, I get distracted by life. I have a confession, and that's I have not finished Nier Automata even 2-3 years now.
Oh yeah, no, it took me like a year to beat it, and I absolutely love Platinum games. I even have. Like, I can show Roman right here my collection where I have Nier on PS3.
Yep.
So it's like, I love Nier and I love Platinum games, but it still took me, a year to beat it.
And that's with dedicated gaming time, right?
Yeah. Just sitting down and just knocking it out. Yeah. Yeah.
Oof.
Automata takes place after Nier. So, Nier is a spin-off of a ending from Drakengard, which is right there, and then from one of the endings in Drakengard 2 came Nier, and then Nier Automata takes place after Nier.
Oh.
And what's funny is that if you look at like the timelines in the Drakengard and Nier universe, it almost looks like something out of the Fate universe, and that's the same thing too, where if you wanted to get the entire encompassing storyline, you'd actually have to go look at all the different medias and all the different stage plays and all of that. And it's very intense. I was like, I don't care. I'm just playing the game. I'm treating it like Star Wars. I'm just going to watch the mainline entries and call it a day. And if it's not important enough to be in the game, it's not important enough for me to know. That's where I'm ending it. But yeah. I feel you on that. It's kind of like warming up the car, the engine is revving, and then once the engine turns on, you just go. And I feel like that's for games too. It's like, it's a slow start for me to get into my games, but once I do, I just like, I'm on it. So same thing with like Devil May Cry 5. My plan is to have Devil May Cry 5 done by the end of the year. And Devil May Cry came out like in April, I think, or March.
Yeah, you got a few weeks left. You should get on that.
Yeah. So, and then one of the dudes on Facebook gave me crap for it too. He's like, it takes you 9 months to beat a 5-hour game, and I was like,
when you got a life.
So yeah, I want to be Devil May Cry 5 before the end of the year. So, and then I got to get started on the stuff I bought on Black Friday, like Bloodstained, and then I got Fist of the North Star. Fist of the North Star by the guys that made Yakuza. I've been telling everyone it's the greatest Yakuza game ever.
Nice.
So, and then funny enough, and I know that Kimmy also does American comics, and we're going to touch on that too, but so that Wonder Woman 1984, that trailer dropped, and I wanted to keep busting everyone's chops by saying, you know what else came out in 1984? Fist of the North Star.
1984?
Fist of the North Star. Fist of the North Star came out in 1984. Damn, that's old. 84 was a good year, man, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm. I was born.
I want to know. I wasn't existing, man.
Oh, apparently Roman and I were both born in 84.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I think you're same month, too.
What a fantastic
May.
year.
May.
Yeah, both May. Yeah, 84 was a great year. Yeah, man, it was like 84.
The year two legends were born.
Yeah, right. And Fist of the North Star. So I just love that. Fist of the North Star is my favorite anime of all time. So and what's funny is that Fist of the North Star, right? Also Shonen Jump, solves the problem that I've had with like Dragon Ball Z and Bleach and shows like that, where Fist of the North Star straight up comes out and says, "Damn, Kenshiro is hella OP. And then they're like, he knows an undefeatable 2,000-year-old martial arts technique. It's like, well, there you go. Why can't anyone beat Kenshiro? Kenshiro knows a 2,000-year-old unbeatable martial arts. That's all you need to say. That's all. You don't need to say anything else. You just need to be like, why is he OP? Boom. Unbeatable martial arts. 2,000-year-old. That's it. So why is it so hard in some other Shonen Jump titles to just do that? Like, why is Ichigo so OP? He knows 2,000-year-old Soul Reaper technique that's, just say that. Just say that, and I would have no problem. But instead, he's just OP for being OP. So, yeah. Or be like Luffy, be like, why is he so OP? He eats.
Well, technically, Luffy's not OP.
Oh. All right, wait a minute. Are we going to get you One Piece guys? You guys are going to get started now?
I wouldn't have too much to compete just because I'm like, what else has Luffy been doing now?
I mean, Luffy still
okay,
loses
never
to
mind.
a lot
Spoiler effect.
So what's funny actually is that on our last podcast we actually had mangas. We were talking about mangas, and Roman was kind of going in because you're caught up with the manga.
Yeah, I'm caught up with the manga, but I'm not caught up with the anime.
And man, he actually was, when he was telling me about it and the world building and all of that, and he's just like, we're on like the island of samurai and everything. I'm all like, man, I stopped at Alabasta. That's how far back I am.
The desert island.
Right, you're like still like the first arc of existence.
You know what's funny? Actually, now that we bring this up, and it was like kind of the same thing with Naruto and Tsunade. I really liked Vivi, and so once Vivi was done, I was all like, I'm out. It's downhill from here.
Missing out on Boa.
Yeah.
I know, and I heard what they did in Shonen Jump All Stars with Sanji, and how if he's fighting female characters, he attacks them with hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he doesn't attack women.
Well,
They could be killing him, and he wouldn't fight back.
well, but how does he play? How is his gameplay then?
I haven't played All Stars.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Is that he uses the heart beam attack?
I just know he doesn't attack him.
Yeah, he just it all becomes heart beams. Yeah, heart beam attack.
I could totally see that. That's their way of like, he doesn't attack them,
Right.
but like
Physically.
the amount of heart and intensity lures them away to defeat.
Exactly. That's a lot of detail. That's a lot of intricacy to put into the game. That's pretty yeah. But no, you're right. I stopped prematurely, and I've seen some of the other waifus that have come out, and I'm just kind of like, all right.
I'm missing out.
Yeah. What's his name? Oda?
Yeah, Ichiro Oda.
Yeah, Oda can draw. Oda knows how to draw them waifus. And actually, too, the Fairy Tail game looks good too. I mean, I'm not into Fairy Tail, but I will admit it looks good. So, Roman and I, when we were growing up, we didn't get these kinds of quality anime games. Like, if you go back and look at like Full Metal Alchemist on the PS2, game was kind of crap.
Berserk. Vampire Hunter D.
Yeah, when they finally made a good one, it was like Budokai Tenkaichi, and so they just made that game 6 times.
Mm-hmm. Hey, if it's not broken.
No,
They just
add more characters. It's like a Street Fighter update, just more characters. Never balance. We don't need that. Just put more characters.
Street Fighter 2 Turbo Alpha Virtua
Championship Edition.
Street, yeah.
DX. Yeah.
But with Dragon Ball.
I respected those games too because Mr. Satan had a jetpack.
Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he? I mean, he can't fly. He's got to have something to compete.
Right. So, yeah.
What was that? That was Ultimate Battle 22. Where he had a jetpack.
What was that on? What system was that on?
I believe that was PlayStation.
PlayStation? Mm-hmm. Okay. I think I remember that. Man. Oh, but anywho. So, yeah. Yeah. League of Legends, huh?
Wait, what?
No, I'm kidding. So, let me ask you this then. Do you have any plans to ever one day cosplay Boa?
I mean, I did for one day, and then I never actually got a photo shoot of her. There is one particular outfit that I do appreciate of hers. But,
Okay.
I mean, at this current point in moment, man, my entire, like, dream list is, like, substantially long.
Got it. So, who's next on your hit list to cosplay?
I have a shoot on Sunday, and I'm debating about either getting my Satellite Zero Vibration Season 2 photographed, or Velvet from Tales of Berseria, or Nezuko from Demon
From that
Slayer.
one anime.
From that one show that came out, Nezuko, huh? No.
That low-budget series that came out a few months ago.
That low budget. Oh my god. So we're gonna talk Nezuko real quick. So Kimmy, I don't know if they told you or if you knew that, but so Demon Slayer the anime is actually animated. The studio is the same guys that do Fate.
Yep.
And so I kept telling Roman on previous podcasts that that's one of the reasons why I think the show got blown up is because the Fate nerds found out, and then they just all started bum rushing, and then they just kind of were like, "Yay, Demon Slayer! Yeah, Demon Slayer! Michael Jackson, Tanjiro, yay!" And what's funny is that on the second Fate movie that came out, that was actually in theaters earlier this year. They do this thing, and they did it in front of the Konosuba movie as well, where they have the voice actors kind of come out, and they're just kind of talking, like they're doing like a pre-show interview. And so one of the things they said is that in the second Fate movie, Ufotable, the animation studio, they're implementing all these new techniques, and they're doing these things with CGI and the hand animation, and it like really makes it look intense. They're doing all these camera spins and everything, and you kind of saw it when like Tanjiro was in the Wisteria mansion. And the Taigo drum demon, every time he beat his drum, the room would spin. And you saw how, like, it was animated with Tanjiro flipping, bouncing off the walls and all of that. That's the kind of stuff that Ufotable basically came out. And you don't see that. I mean, find another anime that looks like that. You know, JC Staff doesn't do it, Madhouse doesn't do it, no one else does it like they do. That's why they're so expensive. And then you keep in mind, too, that Demon Slayer is Shonen Jump. So, it's like, are we going to get 500 episodes on an Ufotable budget? That's going to be insane. It's also why I think they did the cheap way out, and they were just like, you know what? Instead of getting them to do another 24 episodes, let's just pay them for one movie. And then now here we are. So, yeah. It kind of came out of nowhere and became a phenomenon. And how this relates to you is, I'm going to put you on blast real quick and tell everyone listening to this podcast that you actually did the Happy Meal Nezuko.
Happy Meal?
Tell everybody, tell Roman and tell everybody about your Happy Meal Nezuko.
Alright, so there I was at work, and every year at work we have this competition around Halloween space decoration. And every year, my team in particular has ousted for the winning trophy, which for a bunch of designers is this amalgamation of random markers, hodgepodge, ducks, trophy thing. And for whatever reason, we get super hyped, and we have to have the title of being the winners of the Halloween space decoration contests. And this is usually a super huge feat that happens literally overnight, the day before Halloween. And mind you, this is like an open space, a bunch of computer nerds working in this area. So imagine that, like, totally just being obliterated, and things just come to life. And in past years, we've had like a haunted mansion, we've had a whole bloody death rave, we've had a live operation board where it actually did work, and inside each of the little vats were barbecue pieces. But if you did not actually get and retrieve your barbecue without touching the sides, well, it would actually buzz. And then, yeah, it was pretty nifty. It was like 6 foot long. And then we had the whole Indiana Jones theme last year, where a coworker and I were disguised as a big boulder, and we ran over people being a ginormous boulder. And this included like VPs in the company, other executives, and it's just an all-around good time. So anywho, what does this have to do with Happy Meal Nezuko? Well, imagine, if you will, everyone is still riding the hype train of Stranger Things Season 3. And for our particular floor, we wanted to turn half the floor into Starcourt Mall. And so this turned into a whole elaboration of things and a whole series of malls being revised into our meeting rooms and whatnot. And then for my team in particular, we got assigned McDonald's, which it's fine, except one teensy-bitsy little problem. I had already committed to be Nezuko with another coworker.
Wow.
It was her first cosplay ever, and I helped her just find items to put together. And so, since I was like, oh, okay, crap, I got assigned or voluntold to be a cheeseburger. Crap, what do I do? So then, in the midst of all this decoration revamp, comes this big ginormous box where it's like, I think a person can fit in there. I'm gonna see if anyone's using it. Nope. Okay, mine. And I took that box, and overnight I took a bunch of gift wrapping paper, taped it all together, and then just made my own Happy Meal with me. Except this Happy Meal is huge, and yeah, I just went to work dressed up as Nezuko, and I picked up a cheeseburger prop from Party City, and I was just like, you know what? This is going to make no sense to all the normie folks out there.
Right.
I don't care, because I have to be normal for, I don't know, the other 363 days of the year.
Right.
And, this is my one chance to be a nerd calling out to other weebs. Yay! Or other otaku. I don't know what the actual preferred word is, so I'm going to interchange the two.
That's fine.
So anywho, I get to work, I set up my shop, I put my box on top of this table, propped in the middle of the McDonald's food court, and all I do is just pop out of the box very often, and just either scaring the snot out of people, or just I made one of my coworkers' kids' day, because even though Nezuko doesn't talk in the show, you kind of have to interact with kids, and if you're just silent and creepy, that just weirds them out. So I was just being super squealing, and he was super tickled, super laughter filled, and we just stood there. We just were there while I'm opening the box, sitting inside this box continuously, and he just opening it up and just getting a whole giggle out of it, because he's 3. So of course the world is awesome, and it's not weird that this woman is dressed in this outfit and is in this box. Not weird at all. And yeah, I'm just super happy because I managed to fulfill both of my requirements of team obligation and also being able to cosplay with a friend who cosplayed for the first time. So I say it was a win all around. But
nice.
Yeah, Happy Meal Nezuko all the way.
Nice.
And now that 3-year-old kid that you inspired is going to grow up thinking that all demons are good people.
If he ever finds out about the show, who knows? Oh, I forgot to mention, we did win again for the 4th year in a row.
Of course,
Woo!
Of course. It's at Happy Meal Nezuko, how are you going to lose?
I mean, you don't.
Yeah, no.
Just slay all the demons.
Exactly. Either you get them through adorableness or through high cholesterol.
Yep, you know it, man.
So, but yeah, and that's kind of another kind of throw to your on-the-spot thinking, because it's all boom, you just adjusted it, and you're oh, I can be Nezuko and a Happy Meal. So,
and a Happy Meal.
Yeah. So that's that actually is kind of what I was gonna ask next. Is like, so we've been talking about the weeb stuff, and we briefly touched upon your American comic experience. So let's go a little bit further into that. So you've cosplayed a lot of like American comics and media. So what inspires you when you see American superheroes or American comics? And who's your favorite cosplay? Who's your favorite superhero?
Blah blah blah. So many questions, Steven. Gee.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know this is similar to like my knowledge of FGO and One Piece. There's just so much content within the world of comics that there's no way possible that I could fathom and acquire all that knowledge and all that power.
Fair.
However, the comic series that I have been drawn to have been mostly on the Marvel side, and that's probably because of the female protagonists. There's a lot more exploration, a little bit more depth into them, and that I can appreciate. Plus, I'll have to admit, their mobile games are pretty nifty. So Future Fight is one of them that I used to play, and they actually released Luna Snow, who herself just looked to be a really cool character. And I just like that there's a little bit more representation with Silk. Silk is one of my favorites. Cindy Moon is her real name. But of all my all-time favorites, it would probably have to be Black Cat, also known as Felicia Hardy. And she is the second character I've ever cosplayed, and probably of all-time favorite characters to cosplay in general, just because she is just so sultry and so confident and just amazing at being a heart stealer. I mean, I know that she, like, some people would argue that she is a copycat of Catwoman,
right?
But I beg to differ in the sense of, like, you know, she makes it very distinct that she likes Spider-Man, not Peter Parker. She knows what she wants, and she's attracted to all the shiny things, and she has ownership of her sexuality, and that is fine by her, and I love that. And I love that, like, she enjoys just bantering and teasing with Peter and, like, whoever she happens to stumble upon. And yeah, I like that she is in her own way a free spirit. Loyalty is not necessarily within her main priorities, but that's okay. A girl's got to serve herself in that scenario, and so I guess that's where it comes down to, is she is loyal to herself, and that is kind of is beautiful in its own way, especially for me. When I was first exposed to her character, I was in a place of, like, really bad self-image and really poor self-confidence, and I had been referred to as cute so many times, and so many times it just felt like I'm just a small girl, and it was just such a different experience pretending to be Black Cat, cosplaying her and embodying her spirit. I just was, like, drawn and taken back by the reception. And in a lot of ways, it actually lent a lot of influence as to embracing my own capabilities and understanding that this is how she might have felt about embracing her own self, is that she has no reason to apologize for being who she is. She's the daughter of a famous cat burglar, and, you know, she has no qualms about it. She would carry that on because she wants to. And yeah, I love that sort of defiance and wild card nature.
So where did you first discover Felicia? Was it in the comics or the cartoons, or?
Gosh, this is hard.
You actually came out here, and we shot Black Cat on, like, the roof of San Francisco State Hospital, and that's one of my, the first memories I have with you. and that was regular Black Cat. And then you did the symbiote Black Cat, but for that one was from Web of Shadows, right? The video game?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's so funny because it almost seems like when the guys in the boardroom and they're like, gentlemen, we need to come up with a new concept, and it's like they just write on the piece of paper Black Cat, and then they're not moved, and then on the next one they write Symbiote Black Cat, and they're like, oh. And it's like it works, it just works, and it's almost like, how do you make someone cooler? Just put the symbiote on him.
I mean, I was totally down for it, and now that I'm thinking about it, I actually do remember how I got exposed to Black Cat, and it's just because we were going through, when I say we, me and my boyfriend were going through a whole list of characters to cosplay from the Marvel side, and like I remember thinking about Jubilee because, you know, she's Asian, and I looked at her character design, and I was like, but she has dishwasher gloves.
Yeah. She's very 90s.
Yeah, and I was like, that's cute, but I don't want to be cute.
Right.
I was cute with Neliel, but I went for her, you know, adult form, and I'm like, I'm using this as a means to like express myself in a different way that feels safe with like my friends. And yeah, I came across Black Cat's design, and I was like, I want to be her. I just want to be her. I want to pretend like I'm sexy. Even if I don't believe it in this moment, I want to pretend that.
Hey, that's the magic of cosplay.
It sure is. I mean, for whatever reason, it is a form of escapism that can be a healthy channel to help process some of our internal conversations.
Yeah, and I think that you just brought up a point that I actually 100% agree with you, and that's in the cosplays that I've ever done. It's always like I have an attachment to these characters. Like, I just don't throw a costume on and just be like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. It's like I have an attachment to the people I cosplay, and you know, it represents a personality or a desire, or we have like the similar interests or goals, and that's just kind of like why cosplay is kind of like paying homage to them. And it felt like that's kind of like what you were doing. The cosplay represented you and what you were in, where your mind was, and you expressed it through cosplay.
I sure did, and I sure do even now. Like, goodness gracious, I don't know where I would be if it weren't for cosplay's just natural ability to just inwardly roleplay, and even like how cosplay comes into play, whether you buy it, whether you make it, whether you commission it, there is some form of like investment of fan love put into the character, into donning it, and I just appreciate how much interpretation and how much effort people put into representing it and expressing themselves, whether it be through drawing, through illustrations, through streams, through cosplay, through doing commentary. There's just so much to engage with in the world, and I'm just so happy that like we're at a point of nerd culture today where it's like this is an acknowledged thing. And because growing up, I was like, oof, this is hard to be a part of, because it's what it kind of felt like it ostracized me, but at the same time I'm like, well, being a rando Asian kid in the middle of Mississippi,
yeah,
I'm weird enough already.
Right.
And who knows, maybe later, of the 7 billion people that live on this planet today, maybe I can connect with a handful of them eventually.
Absolutely. And it's funny that you're talking about connections and through cosplay, because at this past Fanime you did the Boku Hero shoot, and you look at those photos and you're just like, you could tell everyone is just having a good time.
Gosh, I definitely had a blast, because it's been a long time since I'd done a group cos at that point, so I was like, whoa, like I really was appreciative of just the love and the reception, especially coming from out of state.
Yeah.
Like, I just was super a little bit nervous and anxious, and I'm like, okay, Momo, this outfit's quite ridiculous. This is not feasible, but okay, we're running with it. Let's go.
Hey, I love your Momo.
I sure appreciate it, Steven.
Yes. I mean, Momo just in general is a great character, but, you know, when you cosplay it, it's just like, perfection.
Aww.
So, I
Thank you.
Yeah, if we get the chance, we'll definitely throw up the link to the album so everyone else can check it out. But yeah, definitely that's one to check out. Yeah, did we already ask you what was a cosplay that you're particularly attached to?
Oof, this is quite the question.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's that hard now that I think about it. I think it's probably because it is the one that we mentioned before, Black Cat, specifically the Web of Shadows one.
Okay.
And it's probably just because, like, with that particular character interpretation, like, it is such an obscure variation of Black Cat, that was just really fun to experiment to figure out how to texturize her and have it photograph well and just appear, like, symbiotic. While retaining some of the qualities of it. For instance, like, I have, like, this whole, like, bridge thread across my bosom that has stayed intact all these years. That's just because at this point it's, like, more plastic than it is fabric. But it also is definitely fascinating as to how it's, like, preserved that state. But, I mean, not even just the exploration of, like, the texture and just technique process, but, I mean, the first iteration of the suit, I actually had two suits. I have no idea where the first one went. But it's because the first suit, last I remember, was worn by my older sister, and it was like, as her introduction to cosplay, was just to get a feel for what it's like to, like, be me for the day. And this was at a convention that we were mutually at together, and it was just super interesting just to see her navigate through it. Like, a bunch of people mistook her for me, and that's different because usually it's been the other way around for people that usually know us. And it was just super fun just to see her, like, just play a little bit, especially being the older sister. She's usually more serious about things, but in this regard, she was just, like, relaxing with the rest of us, and I really appreciated that moment. And, like, it's a really good bonding experience. And also, too, I forgot to mention, but my sister's actually the one that got me into anime in the first place.
Oh, there you go.
So, back when, I don't know, ICQ actually was a utilized messaging platform.
Oh, I remember ICQ. Uh-oh.
Yep. Oh, gosh. The notification sound brings up so much for me.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, we kept in contact through that because she went to university overseas, and being the youngest of the siblings, like, I didn't have a lot of social contact with anyone, so it was just really nice to have her check in on me. And then she's just made observations that I like to draw, and then based off of, like, her interactions in life, like, she got recommendations of anime from her then boyfriend's brother. It was about, like, I don't know, an older teenager. And so that's probably what led me to my first anime title. And that title is a pretty obscure one. I'm probably going to butcher this because I've never said it out loud. But it's a title that goes by Lime Ira Senkitan, and that is a ecchi anime.
Oh.
I was like 10 or 11, and I don't remember too much other than this one dude and a bunch of women in sailor outfits, like, not like Sailor Moon outfits, I mean, like, naval sailor outfits.
Right.
And then at some point at one of the episodes, like, one of the ladies had made a joke, and it was like a point of view where the female character is looking down at her bosom, and she makes a joke about how she cannot see her toes. And again, I mean, iterate, I am like 10 or 11, and I'm like doing that, and at the time, I'm like, flat as the wall of justice, and I'm just like, I don't understand this joke. What are you talking about? And I had never heard of puberty, so I'm like, even more puzzled, and I'm like, okay, whatever, I guess that's a thing. And that's just one of those random memories that I've retained in my memory bank for quite a while. And I guess from there, my interest into ecchi just kind of happened in college.
Just kind of blossomed and blew up.
Yep, sure did.
no, that's from why can't I see my toes through my boobs to Black Cat to Happy Meal Nesco. That's a hell of a timeline.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Gee whiz. Like, that makes absolutely no sense.
No, that's sometimes you're Felicia Hardy, sometimes you're Nezuko. It's just how it goes.
Variations of life.
Yeah. That's oh man. Yeah, you're gonna have to message that title or something so we can look it up and we'll be able to see what it is, see what's the wiki or my anime list. If my anime list has a description or find the voice actors.
Oh no, it has a whole description to it and whatnot. I just couldn't tell you exactly the nuances of the series. The only reason why I remember it is because of the logo. For whatever reason, my brain was already visually just adjusted to Kiwano to very noticeable visual items. So that was one of the things that helped me identify. Oh man, this is the anime I watched for the first time, and I was like, "What in the world is going on?" Okay.
It's the booby anime.
And then, I will say my next anime series I did watch was Bubblegum Crisis Tokyo 2040.
Oh, there you go.
I was just so badass ladies, let's get it.
Yep. Then the OG, the 80s Bubblegum Crisis is probably my second favorite anime of all time. If not maybe third, maybe Kenshin is probably second place and then Bubblegum Crisis, but my top or second and third place are interchangeable, but Bubblegum Crisis from the 80s, yes. And I never finished 2040, but I think I'm pretty deep into it. I think I stopped around episode 16 or something.
I'm actually the opposite. So I finished 2040 a couple of times here and there, but I never have finished OG Bubblegum Crisis. Oh man,
the OG Bubblegum Crisis. That's one of those ones where if I walk into a room and it's playing, I'll be like, no, let it play. I normally I'll troll or talk smack or be like, oh my god, you guys are watching this? Demon Slayer, that show sucks. Nobody watches that. But if it's Bubblegum Crisis and I walk into the room, I'll be like, no, this is good.
I'll be sure to bring my Blu-ray with me, so anytime I'm around you, Steven, I'm just going to be like, alright Steven, Bubblegum Crisis, alright Steven, Bubblegum Crisis.
Yep, and then I'll shut up. That'll just shut me down like my off switch. So yeah, that's how it goes. I won't fight you for OG Bubblegum Crisis.
I will finish, I promise.
Yeah. So
it's actually doable, unlike One Piece and FGO and Fairy Tail and oh my gosh, there's just so many titles.
Actually, what's funny is that Pris, the voice actress for Pris Asagiri in 2040, is actually Yu Asakura, who's the voice actress for Medusa in Fate. And especially since Roman is watching FGO right now, Babylonia, we're talking all the Medusa characters. So, Medusa, Gorgon, Medusa Lily, Uriel, and Steno. And Gorgon, all of them. All of them are Yu Asakura.
Wow.
So, yeah. And she's been doing it since the original Fate Stay Night. And then she was at Crunchyroll Expo, and then I got her autograph on my art book of Raita. Raita's the artist who draws Raiko and Shuten and a couple others. What's his name? Kintoki. And who's Sherlock Holmes' rival? Moriarty. But anyways, regardless, I'm getting off track. She was at Crunchyroll Expo. I got her autograph. She signed my Raita art book. And she's a badass. Because we went to her panel at AX, I think 2010, and she was all the way back in Love Hina. I don't know if you ever saw Love Hina, but she played.
Classic.
Yeah, there you go. She played Motoko in Love Hina, which actually was like right after Bubblegum Crisis 2040. And so then she played Motoko, and she was drinking with the other Love Hina girls, and she drank them all under the table because she's all like, I ain't losing to none of these bitches. And so she just drank them all under the table. So US Akuda is a badass. She's a certified badass. I would not fight her. And I recommend no one fight her either, because she might just kick all our asses. It would make for a good story. It might be worth it. Yeah, you tried to fight Pris, and Pris beat your ass.
You know what? I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. You know what? You're right. That would be a loss. I'd take that L with pride.
And then you know what? I'd just be like, you want to get drinks afterwards or something? Because that was real good.
Oh yeah, and you'll pay for it too. She'll put the tab on your bill. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
This is a once in a lifetime opportunity, man.
I agree. This is, yeah. And you just reminded me too. I feel like such a douche too. So when I actually got to the line, I was actually trying to use my Japanese. Ohayou gozaimasu. Onegashimasu. And I'm all handing it to her, and she's speaking to me in English, and I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna stop with my busted ass Japanese, and we're just gonna speak English. I feel like a douche. You win. She just wins. She just wins. She's too badass, man. Her power level is just too good. It's just too good, man. Yeah, she's great.
Agreed.
She's great. Yeah, she's great. Did you watch this week's episode of FGO, Roman?
Yes.
So, because now I'm just thinking about the scene where Jaguar Man shows up, and Medusa Lily is just all like, kill, kuros. Yasukuda is just great. I can gush over Yasukuda like all night long. She's great. And I'm really happy that she's so willing to come out to America so often, because she's all over the place, man. They take her West Coast, East Coast, down. She's everywhere, man. And she does events in Japan as well. So, yeah, it's great, and I'm happy that she's so flexible with coming out here so often. So, as a matter of fact, at that same Anime Expo 2010, when I heard that she likes drinking, I actually gave her a small bottle of Malibu rum. We were gonna drink it in the room, but then I was like, oh hell no, I'm giving it to her. This is my gift. And so, yeah, she got it, and she was so excited, and I was like, all right, I'm happy. So, yeah,
cool.
So, great choice. Bubblegum Crisis 2040 was a solid choice.
Can't help it, man. Classic.
Yeah, it was pretty legit. Pretty legit. I'm sorry, you ever gonna cosplay Pris?
Eventually, I have to.
Yeah, totally. You gotta get that bike. Or a bike.
Major problem.
Yeah?
I don't know how to ride a bike.
Oh, I mean, you don't necessarily have to ride the bike, but you could definitely, like, just photo shoot with it or pose with it, absolutely.
I know, but I'm probably just going to fall off of it
Oh.
and ride the bike.
I mean, yeah, that's true, too.
Just get a bicycle.
A bicycle. Oh, my God.
Bicycle press. Bicycle press.
Bicycle. Pris on a budget. Oh, man.
No, I'll do it on a trike. There we go.
Oh, jeez.
That'll really get all the boomers going.
Oh, jeez. And now I want to just talk Bubblegum Crisis 2040, because it was like, so it was like 2040, Bubblegum Crisis 2040, it kind of divided the fans, because it's just like anything else that gets like remade. There's always that group of people that just don't accept it. They're just kind of like, oh, this sucks. But it was also like 2040 addressed some of the issues that the original one from the 80s had, where it's like Nene and Leon, they both work for the AD police, but why did they never interact with each other? It was just kind of like, really? it was, and the original was an OVA, so it probably just didn't have time to go that deep into it. But it was just one of those things that you're just kind of looking at, and you're just like, why didn't they? So they both in the same office, and they never interacted with each other. That's so weird. But it was also kind of weird how, well, not really weird, but I guess it was weird. They still kept Sulia's little brother being kind of a perv.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, that could fly in the 80s, but we're kind of like in the late 90s now. Did you really need to do that? Okay. All right. Some things never die. Some trends never die.
You know what? You're skirting on the pushing a limit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
but
pass it.
Yeah. With Japan. So, but yeah, it was. I liked it. I liked both Bubblegum Crisis. And yeah. And now I'm thinking about Love Hina as well too, because it was like right after each other, and Love Hina was also Horiyui's debut into voice acting and all that, and yeah. And now Horiyui is just like ginormous. She's just over the moon. One of the most expensive voice actresses you can get. It's yeah. But yeah. Oh man. Okay, let's let's move on.
Where are we going?
I don't know. Kind of out of I'm out of stuff to talk about actually. So I don't know. So what's going on? Where are we going from here then? You said that so this weekend we're shooting. Go on.
I am. I just haven't decided the character.
Okay.
I also need to try on a cosplay, so yeah, that would help.
Okay. So
Yeah.
do you want to fill us in on your Patreon? Any plans for Patreon?
For this month, no, because I'm on holiday bum mode.
Okay.
But I mean, I've had a Patreon for a little over a year now, on and off some months, depending on whether or not I can actually squeeze into my real life shenanigans.
Got it.
But I mean, it's just a means for me to keep up with my cosplay work and to like also just have a single spot for people to check out my work. So I have things tagged appropriately as far as like cosplay and photo sets, and I do have boudoir on it, but I mean it's behind a paywall of $1. So I mean, if you really want to see some lingerie, it's just $1. It's just so like I just don't have like rando people from the other side of the country being like, yeah, being really skivvy.
Yeah.
So that's really all. But my cosplay photo sets are publicly available. If you support with $1, you get early access to those cosplay photo sets.
Okay.
And I mean, for the most part, I have 25 awesome patrons, and I appreciate their support every month. A lot of them have been fabulous friends I've met over the years, and like for a lot of us, Patreon actually helped encourage me to get back into cosplay.
Nice.
I don't do it for money. I mean, by no means is cosplay like this money maker. If anything, it's like, oh gosh, if I were to actually tally up how much I spend on cosplay, someone might need to get me a therapist. But we shouldn't talk about that, right? And I mean, like, yeah, I've just been having a fabulous time just sharing my work on there and just interacting with people. But like I said, just for this month, I'm kind of on holiday schmooze and like enjoying more of the streaming side with friends. Since it's the holidays, we're kicking back and we're chilling, hanging out, bantering each other, and helping each other get better at teamfight tactics, and just talk about life and nerd stuff.
Absolutely. Something else just crept into my mind too. You did photography for a little bit. Are you still doing photos on the other side of the camera?
So earlier mentioned and reference about how I seem to cycle through different interests at a time.
Yeah.
Photography's kind of been that for me. So it took a little bit of a break just because I didn't have a computer unit that could handle the amount of image processing I was wanting to do. But now that I've upgraded for streaming purposes, it can definitely clear the requirements for image processing.
Okay.
So I actually just picked up a new portrait lens that I will be photographing of a couple of people next week. So I'm super excited, looking forward to that. Getting just back into the swing of things again, and just a little bit at a time. Even if it's me just bouncing back and forth between interests, I'm okay with that. And I used to give myself a really hard time about not focusing on things, but sometimes, like with life, you just gotta roll with what you got, and sometimes at least for me, my heart wasn't in the right place for good creative output. So,
right. I feel you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to get started, but when you do get started, you're on a roll and you just go forward.
Kind of like me, I'm writing this lovely work performance review, turning into a whole 10-page autobiography of my year's work, and I'm like, good grief.
Yep. And in a minute, you're gonna need to put references, and then you need a references cited page.
MLA, APA.
Yep, MLA format. Yep.
I'll write a whole thesis and then eventually become a dissertation. Then I have to present it to a whole board.
Yep.
Oh wait, I'm not in a doctoral program, so I'm sorry for insulting for the 2% of people that actually are doing the hard work that's needed to acquire and attain a doctoral degree. Because good grief, that's a lot of education. That's a lot of schooling. Bad props. Keep learning.
So when are you going to do doctor cosplay?
What?
When are you going to do doctor or nurse cosplay?
Oh, isn't that just a Halloween costume?
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding. Although, if you ever do nurse satellizer, there you go.
I mean, I've never seen an image of Nurse Satellizer in all the art I've ever perused, so you're going to have to share me that source, Steve, if you're holding something back.
See, don't tempt Kimmy with her waifu.
You always do Nurse Mafu, Sensei.
Oh yeah, you can. From We Never Learn? Well, I've been telling Kimmy that she needs to do Mafu Sensei. I was like, absolutely. So, and Kimmy, you was Nakano Miku from Quintessential Quintuplets. Was that your first pink hair cosplay? Sonico, there you go. Sonico, there you go. Yeah. So,
that's
okay.
oddly specific.
Yeah, so because I know that you usually go for your blondes, which is which is great. It's my thing is pink hair, so that's why I'm just all like, yeah, do all these pink waifus, yeah. But yeah, I made the comment that if Kimmy ever does Mafu Sensei from We Never Learn, I will be the cockroach.
Oh god, the cockroach.
Yes, I will happily be the cockroach.
You know what? All I can imagine is you in a cockroach outfit, and I'm just an agony face of just wanting to scream and run away.
Pretty much.
Now, would you be in an actual cockroach costume, or would you just be blurred out?
I would be blurred out. Absolutely blurred out. So you can't have this on a Christian anime.
What? But I think it'd be funny if you were a giant cockroach.
We could do both. I'm just the uncensored one has to be locked behind the paywall.
Wow.
Late at night.
Yeah, late night. R18.
I always found that weird that they blur out.
I'm just gonna have a can of Raid then.
Oh man. Yeah. Really shocked at how it's We Never Learn is so popular, but I don't see anybody talking about it. So it's I think I'm in the wrong groups. So it's nobody's talking about it, but it's all the girls are in the top 10s, and it's always on the top 10 shows of the weekly rankings, and what's his name? The main character, the main dude is always in the top 10. I haven't even looked at the shipping ranks, how the shippings.
I think right now it's just the dude and Fumino.
Fumino? Oh yeah, Furuhashi. Yeah, it's weird though. Whenever it's her episodes, it always goes hella heavy. You know, it's always dramatic when it's Furuhashi.
It's they're trying to say, look, the other girls are nice, but he's gonna end up with her. So don't get used to it.
And you know when you say that, I guess they said that quintuplets is ending as well, and he is going to end up with one of them. And people have said in comments about who he's going to end up with, and I'm a little disappointed.
I hope it's somebody unexpected. Just to throw everybody off.
You know, if he walked off with Ichika, I'd be like, done, son, best girl. But I don't think that's the case. If what they're saying is true, and I hope you're right too. If everyone is led to believe it's this one, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, bam, it's Ichika, I'd be like, done. This is the greatest show of all time. This is the greatest harem of all time. But yeah. Yeah. Oh, actually, and that also reminded me too. So they just put out the trailer or the commercial for Isekai Quartet Season 2.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I think they said January 22nd, I think.
Yeah, it's late January.
Yeah. And so I bring this up because Kimmy, when are we getting Raftalia?
You know, she's upstairs. I'll get back to you on that, Steven.
Yeah, you're Roman is over here.
I'm overdue.
Yeah.
I'm overdue.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now that I think about it, it's funny you did Nezuko before you did Raftalia. That's funny.
Oops.
That's fine. That's fine. Now you just need to do Happy Meal Raftalia.
You know, I'm sorry. It's because I'm inept at being a furry, okay?
That's fair enough. So, raccoon.
Then I'm surprised you're not watching Beastars.
That's okay. So they had that like, was it the scale where it was like, what level furry are you? And then at the top was like Sonic the Hedgehog. So I'm nowhere on that. I think I stop at the Kimono Friends level. That's about as furry as I get. Yeah.
I mean, Beastars is good.
I mean, you know, I've ranted a bit offline about my current working scenario with Kimmy before, and I feel like I should be watching Agaretsuko because I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. What's up?
Yes. What are you doing, Steven? You need to get on that. That's actually a pretty fast watch.
Oh, that's the one with the red panda, right?
The office worker, yeah.
And does like the metal music.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
still haven't watched that either.
Yeah. And apparently, last year they had a Christmas OVA too, so it's like right now would be the time to watch it and knock it out because it's that season.
I guess so.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like now would be more relatable that show and I. Yeah. So maybe if I can squeeze it in after Devil May Cry 5, I'll have to check it out.
I guess technically you could say One Piece added furries too.
Oh jeez. Well, yeah, they have that bunny girl, right?
Yeah, Carrot.
Carrot? Oh, her name is really Carrot. Well, all right.
Yeah, her name's Carrot.
Kimmy, are you familiar with Carrot from One Piece?
Nope. I'm looking her up now.
Okay. Because I remember when I was in Japan last year, it was like the episode with Sanji's sister, the butterfly lady, and then she was on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in that arc.
Okay.
I think she comes in the arc before that.
Okay.
And then she just following Luffy and them right now. Like she's on the ship, but not officially a part of the crew.
Got it. What's funny is that I was talking about Vivi, and I saw that Vivi was it the Cup of Noodle commercial?
Yeah, I mean, Vivi's still really popular. I mean, she was just in a small arc that came up recently, the Reverie. She was in that because it's all the kingdoms that get together to discuss what they're going to do with things happening in the world. So Alabasta's a part of it, so she was there.
Was this a filler arc or is this an official arc?
It's an official arc.
Oh. So you
Nothing like world politics to bring back characters from the beginning.
Right? And Roman's over here trying to convince me to get it. No, I actually already promised Roman I'm going to watch Bang Dream at some point. So
at some point, he's been saying it since summer.
Yeah. It's you had to pick a season where there's like 13 shows going on that I'm trying to watch. It's pretty bad. But yeah.
And your HH-chan just took a dive to the floor. So
for reals?
Yeah, she's over there.
Oh. Sorry, Hentai Haven. Yeah. Yeah. It's there's a girl that's in Bang Dream. Her name is Ron. She actually looks like the mascot for Hentai Haven.
Well, that's because they just took her and put Hentai Haven where her...
They literally just took her and put Hentai Haven on her shirt.
Yeah.
HH. So, yeah. Really sucks when she died.
I know, right?
And Ugly Bastard and male hentai protagonist all attended her funeral. Yeah. That was unfortunate.
Yeah.
But then she got resurrected in Bang Dream, so...
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And yeah, and what's even funnier too is that her voice actress is Ayane Sakura, and she's pretty prolific herself too. So,
I think she's Uruka in My Hero.
Yeah, she's Ochako.
Yeah,
Ochako. And you know a couple of other things too.
Yeah.
She was Shimakaze in Kansai Collection. She's Mabe in FGO. Chiome as well, and
it's no wonder I like Mabe.
Musashi. She's Miyamoto Musashi. So, yeah.
It's also no wonder I like Musashi.
Yeah. Pink-haired waifus all the way. So, yeah. So, Ayane Sakura is pretty prolific. She was also in the audio drama, not the anime, but the audio drama for Quintuplets. She was the voice for Miku. So, she was the first Miku. And then,
Kokoro in Bang Dream is Miku now.
Yeah, then they changed it to Miku playing Miku. Yeah. But yeah, Ayane Sakura is pretty good. So,
Cool.
yeah. But yeah. Well,
Kind of got off track there.
yeah, you know, like I said, I told Kimmy that this is probably going to be the flow of this podcast. We might just go all over the place. But yeah. You know, and I think that's about it. I think that's all that I got. We did pretty good, Kimmy.
We did? Awesome.
Yeah. So, I'm about ready to say let's wrap this up, folks. What do you guys say?
My stomach agrees because it's hungry and it's like 11:30.
Alrighty then.
Oh yeah, because you're 2 hours ahead, huh?
Yeah. All right. Well then.
Into the future.
Right.
Alrighty then. Let's close down the show then.
All right.
So Kimmy, real quick, even though we will link all of your appropriate channels and websites in the description, where can people follow you? Check your stuff out. Where can they go?
You can visit my work on Facebook page, even though I don't actually maintain it because Facebook reaches poop. You can actually follow me more actively on Patreon, just under the same handle, Kimihako Blade, Instagram, and that's mostly all the platforms I keep up with right now. So, oh yeah, and Twitch. I can't forget about Twitch. I stream on Twitch, and all under the same handle, Kimihako Blade. I'll be shamelessly plugging y'all. Thank y'all both for having me. I've had a great time talking and nerding out with y'all.
Nice.
It's just nothing like this, man, and nothing like hanging out with friends.
Yeah, I appreciate you being on here with us, and thanks for rapping with us. You know,
Definitely.
Anytime.
And yeah, like I said, it will. We might do this again. We might coordinate with you in another future show, and we'll get you on here. And eventually, sometime we'll actually talk shows. We'll rap like about the shows that are going on in the season.
Yeah.
We were kind of all over the place, but yeah.
Yes, I will catch up. I need to do some catch up because I was like supposed to be doing something. I did do something I was supposed to be doing.
No worries. We did pretty well. We covered a lot, so I appreciate you coming on with us. And yeah, like I said, we'll definitely get people over to come check you out too.
Yep. Just send us all your links. We'll put them up.
Definitely.
Yep, got y'all. And likewise. Love y'all.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alrighty then. Roman, take us away.
All right. So we're actually going to be recording next week.
Yeah.
Christmas,
Yeah.
the Christmas Eve
Yeah.
is the week after that.
Correct.
So
We'll be back here in a week.
be back here in a week
Alrighty
for
then.
episode 21.
21. Jeez. Alrighty then.
So, yep. We'll see you then.
All right. We'll see you guys in a week.
Bye.
Take it easy.